Digitalization in Australia, definitely happening. It's not a question of if or when, it's now. And the reason why is pretty much driven by customers first and foremost. So when you look at how we are used to having access to digital services in banking or in telco, it's quite normal that the other industry like retail and utilities are going through that patch as well. So driven by customers, but we see the utilities picking up and really having some very strong digitalization transformation program happening. Now the reason why it's important is because there's a lot of data being available now to the consumers, but also to the utilities. So they want to get personal access, personalized insight on the way they use their energy, on the way that they understand their bills. They want to be able to get alerts when their bills start to be high. They want to be able to understand what other services are available to them. They want to be able to go on the web or on an app rather than giving a call to a call center and being put on hold, to be able to really get access to information 24/7 anywhere they are. So it's happening. I think there's obviously a lot of work to be done. So your question about do we have the right leaders in the utilities to make it happen? I think it's transforming. You see more and more focus on new functions and roles within the utilities, on the CMOs, the Chief Marketing Officer and the Digital Officer as well. My perspective is one thing I've noticed looking after Asia Pacific, Japan and Europe is I see a lot of utilities out of Asia going to events like the European Utility Week or to events in Malaysia. I was there about 2 months ago. I don't see that many utilities from Australia coming and learning out of the other utilities in the world. So that would be one thing to think about is how do they leverage not only what they're learning here in the marketplace, but what other utilities are doing around the world, and especially in markets like UK, where it's deregulated, as in Australia, and where consumers are forcing that digitalization across the board. Well, dinosaur is when you don't have any competition. If you look at the retail market in utilities, there's more than 150 retailers in Australia, so there's definitely more and more competition. There is pressure as well from a price point perspective. You've seen, you open the newspaper and every day we talk about Australians paying too much for their energy bills in electricity and gas. So we want better pricing, we want better competition. And that will change the way that the big retailers or the big utilities in Australia behave. They're going to have to be more nimble. They're going to have to develop new business models. They're going to have to offer more services. But importantly, they're going to have to change their mindset. The mindset so far has been, as a utility, I provide energy. And that's what I do. And I send you a bill and please pay. And if you got an outage, you call the call center. That is not going to work in the future. They need to put the customer at the center of their business. They need to look at how to engage proactively with consumers and provide not a customer service, but a customer experience that delights us Australians when we reach out to our utilities. So I think that will be a key point for the what I would say, not the dinosaur, but the utilities have been around for a long time on how to adapt. Now it comes with innovation. They need to innovate. So for example, in UK, you can start and stop services with one click of a button. Right? We should be able to do that right now in Australia with the big utilities. You should be able to have an app where you pay your bill online straight away. You should be able to have some home energy reports where you can see how you use your energy, which device is requiring most of the energy at what time of the day, and how does that compare with other households that are similar to you in terms of number of people living under your house in the neighborhood. So there's a lot of things from technology and innovation that we can help utilities today in engaging with customer and having a better proactive engagement. Too many times, the only time we hear from our utilities is when we receive the bill. Sometimes we got an email, but that's not enough. And the new entrants understand that concept and tend to be a lot more nimble and a lot more agile and customer-centric than the traditional utilities. So I think it will happen. There's obviously an interest as well on the government, what they're going to push the utilities and how they're going to change them. There's a lot of question mark about a potential Royal Commission. So if that was going to happen, I'm sure that some of the large utilities in Australia will have to adapt and change their business model. So first of all, it has to be part of their mission. So it's clearly something that needs to be driven by the leadership of the utilities, by the CEOs and so on. Second of all, they have to use technology to enable their staff to get that customer engagement. So a lot of the utilities and retailers today have smart meters in Australia. There's a lot more IoT today as well. So it's hard to get that data and have proper technologies on data analytics, for example, that's going to give insight that is about you, a new usage versus is usage that we might have or somebody else. So it's really going to personalize and using the data that you collect. That's a key thing. It's about getting the right customer experience platform and the right tools in terms of developing web content and application that are easy to use, easy to access, and that will delight the customer. And then that's where we can help. So for example, with Oracle Utilities, we can run a digitalization test plan that compares your utility to their peers in terms of how ready you are to engage with your customer, where you're at, what are the gaps, etc. We also provide, for example, in Japan or Malaysia, home reports, home energy reports to consumers, so they better understand how they leverage their utility, and they have some insight that they can compare with other neighborhoods. So that type of ongoing communication is something that is available to utilities. They just need to start having the right technology to enable them to engage with clients, because it can't be with a call center anymore. It has to be digital. I love these events. I think it's a good mixture of different type of vendors and ecosystem in the market. So as a client, you can learn a lot about different parts of the market and where the businesses are going and where the innovation is going as well. We got a breakfast tomorrow with lots of clients coming, so we're quite excited. I want to listen to a couple of sessions, so it's a good event. We always want more. We want more clients. We want that bigger. So we're here to support the event, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity.